Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. Today we're going to spend a little bit of time talking about the assessment in the major process or the program self-study process, depending on what year you are tapped to complete the process for your program. 23-24, we're sustaining the assessment in the major title, but moving forward, we'll be referring to this as program self-study or some iteration thereof. So if you're looking at this in 24-25 or some year thereafter, you may see a slightly different title here, but the functionality and navigation should be the same, and this tutorial should hold up for at least the next couple of years. So let's just say hypothetically that your program has been tapped for program self-study or assessment in the major, and it's fast approaching. So you want to get a head start on this. Well, the first thing you're going to notice is that under your program workspace, you're going to have a new area, the assessment in the major or program self-study area. You'll click on that, and you'll see on the left-hand side the new template. Now, if you've done one of these in the past, you'll notice that this is pared down quite significantly. We've cut a couple of sections. We've cut several subsections that struck us as superfluous, the Academic Assessment Committee, and we've tried to streamline the process as much as we possibly can, and that's why we're covering some of this today. Now, if you're an accredited program, we only need two things from you: the program accreditation report and your Dean Symposia presentations or reports from the last program accreditation report to the current date. So if you completed a program accreditation report 5 years ago, you're on a 5-year cycle. We just need the last 5 years of your Dean Symposia presentations or reports and your program accreditation report, your most recent one, and we should be all set to go. SUNY has notified everybody, and that will suffice for the accredited programs. Now, if you're a non-accredited program, you have a little bit of work ahead of you. It's work that the accredited programs have already done in their program accreditation report. We just have a different mechanism by which we complete these things. Today we're going to focus on Section A and just get through the basic navigation elements of Section A. So you'll notice the first subsection is an introduction to vision and missions. So in this section, you're going to be looking at just kind of an overview of what you've done in subsections A1 through A5. So in order to do this, you're going to have to complete subsections A1 through A5. So it's best to return to this a little bit later. The next thing you're going to be looking at is subsection A1 with a program mission statement. Now it says here in the directions, notice how I unpacked those. Normally they'll be unpacked if you haven't added anything to the workspace yet, but once you've added something, you can easily unpack it to review it again. The program mission statement is a statement that reflects the goals of the program and their relationship to the institutional mission statement. Most programs have their mission statement featured on their home page. If your program doesn't have this, you can usually find it in the previous self-study, or you might have to go all the way back to your initial application to state ed to have this program approved. We're going to start with the web page because that's the easiest option. You can see I've already searched for technological communications. I'll click on that, and I start to scroll down, and I see what appears to be a mission statement, but it doesn't have the subheading mission statement there. So I'm going to keep looking just to be safe. I don't see any mission statement. Heck, if I want to be really thorough, I can even use the Control F function and just type in the word mission. And you can see there that admissions is coming up conveniently. Okay, well, we don't want that. So we're going to go to the program description. And we're going to see if mission statement is included here. It does not appear that there's a mission statement here. So it looks like right now this serves as our mission statement. It's just not identified as such. So we're going to Control C that. We're going to come back to task stream. We're going to check out this workspace. And we are going to add text and image, and we are going to paste it in. And I've already done that, as you can see. So I just click Add Text and Image, Control V, it pastes the mission statement in. I add the word mission, and then I added two notes too. One is add language to the website so the mission is clearly identifiable. This will help with future accreditation cycles with middle states. And I also added a note to add a paragraph to connect program mission statement to the institutional mission statement. And then I check that in, and I'm all set to go. For the time being, that is. We go to A2 next, and we get to the institutional mission statement. Now you'll notice here in the directions, it just makes it as easy as it possibly can. Hey, guess what? We've already pasted it in. All you have to do is copy all of this information, Control C, check it out, add text and image, so you click on that button right there, and then you paste it in. And I've already pasted it in. And now everything from the web page is there, including the hyperlink. You may want to double check the hyperlink to make sure that it's still accurate, and then you're all set to go. You can check that in, and then just click on it again to double check and make sure that everything came through good and it's checked out. I do want to mention really quickly, folks, that the checkout button sometimes, if your browser window is smaller, it won't appear. So usually you just have to expand your browser window so that it becomes visible, and then you should be all set to go. School mission statement. Well, school mission statement is usually featured on the school page. So from your program page, there should be a series of links for the 3 schools. You can click on your school. TCOM is housed in the School of Business and Liberal Arts. And therein you shall find the mission. Yay! Control C. Head back over to Task Stream. Check this out. Click text and image. Paste it in there. Check it in. Click back to double check. And you can see here I've said add a paragraph connecting school mission to the program mission. If it's not already readily apparent, you'll be all set to go. We're going to come back to program goals in just a second here. I want to go to program learning outcomes first. So we're going to A5. Program learning outcomes workspace is set up a little bit different. We check this out, and we have 2 choices. We can create a new set or select an existing set. I'd always start with the easier of the options, select existing set. And let's just see if we can import the TCOM communication or technological communication outcomes into this workspace. Oh, there they are. Beautiful. This makes things a lot easier for us. Okay. We're going to check that in, and we're going to double check to make sure that it imported appropriately. And our PSLOs are there. Wonderful. Now, what if they're not showing up when you say select existing set? Well, you can create a new set, and you can import the outcomes manually, unfortunately, from your program workspace to this workspace, which I'm happy to help with. Or you can just give me a call or drop me a line. Let's just say hypothetically that we did go for create a new set, and we were starting from square one. In this circumstance, we'd hit continue, and then we'd have the opportunity to enter or re-enter our program learning outcomes. Where do you find your program learning outcomes? Check this in really quickly. You'll find those in your assessment and planning workspace under learning objectives and outcomes. Now, this is the sad thing. When we find ourselves in this circumstance, we often have to copy and paste the program learning outcomes. That is not the appropriate work. There we go. Into a Word document. And we're going to have to add them in manually. The crosstalk between different workspaces and task stream is not always as seamless or intuitive as one might hope. And there's a lot of behind the scenes work that's involved in trying to get us where we need to be. But in most cases, you should be able to simply import, as we did here, right? Select an existing set and then import them in like this automatically. Program goals. This is one of the harder areas to navigate. So program goals typically would be included in an annual report where you talk about some of the things that you're hoping to accomplish or achieve for your program specifically. Now, there may be general departmental goals that apply to your program. So the first place that I would try to look would be in your department's annual report that's usually provided to your dean somewhere in June or July of each year. Usually it's June, in the middle of June or the beginning of June. If you can't find any there, my recommendation is to wait until you get to Section D and you look at your program factbook information. And we'll cover that when we do the tutorial on Section D. And the program factbook is going to give you information on attrition patterns, graduation rates, retention, things along those lines. And goals then can be crafted from the information there you find. So let's say hypothetically that your retention rates aren't doing so well. Maybe you've got a retention rate of 60% or something. Only 60% of your students are actually sticking with your program throughout the entire 2 or 4 years of the program. A lot of the other ones are either transferring or they're dropping out or they're changing to a new major or something along those lines. A great program goal would be to enhance that rate. So you go from 60% to 70%. Now, I know a lot of people who are listening to this are probably saying we should be thinking about this before we engage in the program self-study. That's definitely true. And for a lot of programs, these kinds of goals are being thought about. There are other goals that are being thought about that are, like I said before, included in your department's annual report. But if you're finding yourself with a lack of program goals, then it's time to start creating meaningful program goals so that you can succeed moving forward. And then you'll report out on those program goals in the subsequent program self-study cycle. Now, if you need more help with developing meaningful program goals, you can always reach out to the Director of Assessment, and they can help you start to craft those goals. You can also reach out to your chair, director, or your dean to start developing program goals. So you can see why I saved subsection A4 for last, because it's one of those areas, it's a sticking point that a lot of folks tend to struggle with. So just to recap, we've covered today subsections A1 through A5 and some of the sticking points that you can really struggle with, some of the navigational issues that you might contend with related to the program mission statement, and also some of the things that you're going to want to save until you get a little bit further into the process. This process that I just went through to get everything in that you possibly can, it should take you about 15 to 20 minutes to navigate and find everything that you need. And of course, you're going to have to come back and fill in the missing spaces later on, but we'll hopefully talk about that in a subsequent training session. I hope you find this valuable and helpful, and as always, you can reach out to me to assist you with this process at any point. I'll be happy to help. Take care, folks.